everyone, my name is Chloe and I work for the charity Autism Together, and I'm here to give you a short presentation to let you learn a little bit more about what is autism during Autism Acceptance Month this April. So for today, what we're going to look at is who is Autism Together and the charity I work for and the work that we do. We'll also look at what is autism and how it affects people. We'll have an explore of a couple of celebrities with autism, so there may be some faces there that you recognise, and also ways that you can help someone with autism. We do have a short video in this presentation, and I'll remind you when this is about to start because it can seem quite loud and a little bit blurry too, some flashing on it, just so you're aware. So first off, let's have a little bit of an explore around who is Autism Together and what we do. So we are a charity based on the Wirral, and we support adults and young children with autism, right from the early years all the way through their lives too. No formal diagnosis is needed to required to access our services, so we can support you right from the start through everything. We have lots of daily activities at our day services, and this includes things like computers and gaming. We have stop-start animation too. We do gardening, arts and crafts. We look after the animals on our farm, IT and dance and drama, as well as many, many more things, including Duke of Edinburgh Awards and canoeing and mountain biking and all sorts. We have an award-winning training and advisory service here to help teach people about autism and make places autism friendly. We do parenting courses and offer advice and support to individuals with autism and their loved ones. We do work with many places to make them autism friendly, such as Chester Zoo, Cheshire Oaks, John Lennon Airport, and many, many more too. Our Children and Family Service provides much needed respite and activity clubs for young people with autism. We have rainbow groups for the small little ones up until about 5 or 6 years old. Then we have activity clubs and befriending groups for our teenagers and connected sessions for adults too. It's a great way for them to learn and meet other people with autism with similar interests as themselves. And finally, where I work, the fundraising team. As we are a charity, we need donations to pay for equipment and fund services that we provide. We recently raised £50,000 to build this amazing sensory garden for the adults we support at our respite unit. So you may also be doing some fundraising at your school today or get involved in one of our activities too. So thank you so much. Now let's explore a little bit more about what is autism. You may have heard about it before, you may even know somebody with autism. It's very important to remember that it is a hidden disability. You can't really tell someone has autism by the way they look, but sometimes by their behaviours might show and act a little bit differently. It's very important to remember that autism does affect everybody individually. How it affects one person is different to how it might affect somebody else. So not everything we do will work for the same for one person. Here we're going to look at the different elements of autism, and I've chosen 4 main things here. So with sensory, some people with autism can see, feel, hear or smell things a lot better than us or not at all. For example, some people with autism might get a bit scared or worried by loud noises and often cover their ears or wear ear defenders. Also, they may feel a bit nervous and hate crowds and busy places, or be very particular about the foods that they eat and want to have them separated on their plate. We do have around 16 senses in total. A lot of the time in school, we focus on the main 5 of taste, touch, smell, sight and hear. But there are another 2 senses that are very important for people with autism, and they're called vestibular and proprioception. Very big words. They basically mean about body awareness and also about balance. So some people with autism can come across clumsy or bump into things, or feel the need to feel the walls to know where they are. They also may love tight pressure and cuddles and require these to help them feel calm. Our next image here is the pig with wings. And this is where we talk about literal thinking. So some people with autism might not understand jokes and banter and sarcasm that we use a lot nowadays. For example, if I said, "Oh, you silly monkey," then someone with autism might tell you that they're not a monkey. Another example is telling someone, "You've caught the sun today," and they may think that you've actually literally caught the sun, which is impossible. The same with get your skates on, which means get moving, not actually put a pair of skates on. The crowd of people here holding hands is to represent that some people with autism may not feel very confident with making friends or understanding how to keep a friend, and also relationships with boyfriends and girlfriends too. Just because they don't play with you one day doesn't mean they don't want to the next. They may have particular passions and interests and focus a lot on these and not understand that you might feel a little bit bored. It's important to understand and try and help people with autism to join in, and you may need to do this in a different way. Finally, the first and then image is to explain that people with autism can often feel a lot more reassured and understand a lot more by the use of pictures, and how their brains work better with images than processing words. So using pictures and keeping words short and simple is the best way to move forward. I could say to you, go upstairs, brush your teeth, get your pajamas on, and then come back downstairs, and you could probably do it. However, someone with autism might only get to the top of the stairs and completely forget what we've asked them to do. We'll look at more at the use of pictures and images next, and how this can help people with autism understand the world a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to look at some famous people with autism, and then maybe some faces here that you recognise. So we have Chris Packham, a BBC presenter that you may have seen on Springwatch. Anne Hegarty from the TV programme The Chase, and has also been on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Greta Thunberg, an environmental activist, which I'm sure you've all spoken about at some point in school. And Satoshi, the creator of Pokemon. You can really see here how their autism and their passions and their interests have helped them develop their lives into what they really love to do. Anne Hegarty has a wealth of knowledge in her head with all these quizzes and questions that she can do. Chris Packham has a real keen passion for wildlife, which you can really see in his programmes on Springwatch. Greta Thunberg has a massive passion for the environment and fighting for the environment too. And Satoshi, his brain has helped him to create Pokemon, which has been worldwide for many, many years now. All of these people have a diagnosis on the autism spectrum. And here, why we are here today, so World Autism Awareness Day is celebrated on the 2nd of April every year. But here at Autism Together, one day just simply isn't enough. We have a whole month of autism acceptance, where we try and teach many people about autism and how everyone can be more accepting of them. Here you can see an image of our fundraising ambassador Rick with Jürgen Klopp, who was a great supporter of ours, and a few years ago we met him to talk to him a lot more about Autism Acceptance Month. Now we're going to have a look at some different examples of how you can help someone with autism. Remember, everyone is affected differently, so what works for one person might not necessarily work for another, or may need to be adapted too. The main thing to remember is their brains work a lot better visually, and processing words can take a little bit longer. Turning your everyday routine into a visual planner can really help someone with autism. This may be in a more simpler, easy to read format with lots of pictures, or something like a daily planner. So here you can see we've got images of snacks and drinks, and someone with autism could take a picture and give it to me to tell me what they wanted without using words. Or you may need something a little less structured, such as a daily planner, just to write down what you're doing that day, things that you might need to go and buy, meals you might be eating, and your top priorities too, just so it can remind you what's happening that day. A different type of visual structure for someone that has a higher support need may include lots of pictures for every step of the day. Here you can see a visual timetable with the use of words and pictures. Now these are very generic images and not personalised to someone, but they could really help someone with autism. Nowadays, with the use of iPads and our smartphones, a lot of people are using their cameras to take photos of things that they do and places they go to often. Here you can see it's quite personalised of someone's favourite cereal of Shreddies, their back garden, so they know what they're going to play with, and their school too, so they know the exact building that they're going to. Also now we use a lot more of smiley faces and flatline faces and sad faces and a thumbs up or thumbs down to express how we feel without going into too much detail. I know a lot of teachers will have these faces outside the classroom. So when the children come in that morning or after break, all they need to do is just point to how they feel. Then the teacher can adapt her activities to accommodate them. So if they're feeling really sad, she'll know that to get the trains out because that's what they love. Or if they're feeling really happy, then we can really engage and start learning a little bit more. Some people with autism can't communicate with words, or they may choose not to. As well as pictures, we can use Makaton, which is a type of simple sign language. You may, when you were a lot younger, watched Mr. Tumble. A simple episode of his will show you many, many different signs. And here we can learn different signs to use to help aid communication. For example, more is simply putting your hand on top of another hand. Coffee, you make a C and drink it like coffee. And tea, stick your pinky finger in the air like the Queen and drink your tea. Banana is basically like you're peeling a banana. And toast is as if a piece of toast is popping out of the toaster. So simple signs, there's many that you can learn. And one episode of Mr. Tumble will fill you with lots of knowledge. As we discussed earlier, there are around 16 senses, all linked to our bodies, and my senses are completely different to yours and completely different from the person that you're sitting next to. The main 5 that we all know are taste, touch, sight, smell, and hear. There are, however, 2 other senses which seem to really affect people with autism too. Proprioception, which is about body awareness, and vestibular, which is about balance. Being under-responsive to our vestibular sense may mean people will seek experience to boost body movement, such as a desire to be on the move all the time and eagerly accept experiences like roller coasters and fairground rides, or rough and tumble play too. Being under-responsive to proprioception will be to seek out sensory input by banging into objects, biting or sucking on fingers, loving deep pressure hugs or tight clothing. So it's really important to know that if you know someone with autism, to understand their senses a little bit more and how they may feel affected by them. So now we're going to watch a short video produced by the National Autistic Society. It's a video of a young boy with autism walking through a shopping centre, and it's to help you to try and understand how he might experience the world differently. Please remember, it might be quite loud and flashy at times, but it is supposed to be this way. Right, let's start the video.
Six, 7, 8, 9.
Take my hand.
No, Alex. It's fine, isn't it? I'm not naughty. I'm autistic. And I just get too much information.
So as you can see from that video, what did you think about it? It did show you how he was trying to cope with the situation by counting the numbers on his hand, but also how shoppers were very quick to judge him, and rather than offer help and acceptance, they just turned away. You could also see how he saw the world in a different way. He noticed things that you and I would just walk straight past, like someone's shoelaces being untied, and how when there's perfume sprayed, not only could he smell it, he could see it. Those type of things just shows how his senses are affected differently and how it can sometimes be too overwhelming and too much. So there are different things that we can use to help people with autism when they may feel scared or worried, and sometimes they may need to just go to a quiet place to feel a little bit calmer where there's less noise and fewer people. They can also use things like ear defenders to help block out noise. You may have seen these more at fireworks and bonfire nights or football matches, but some people with autism might need them for everyday activities, such as visiting the supermarket or going for walks in the park. Also, there are many different fidget and fiddle toys that people can use to help them distract them from feeling worried, such as fidget spinners and bendy men. The little boy in the video used counting fingers on his hands, but we do know lots of people with autism used fidget toys and stuff in their pockets too to help them feel calm in more stressful situations. Younger children can love the same toys as everybody else, but they just might play with them a little bit differently. This is a young boy called Henry, and he loves to line up all his toys, even his toast. You can see in the top picture there, he's got a row of toast with his toys where he takes one bite, puts it down, moves on to the next piece too. He loves superhero figures and princesses and Disney characters, just like any other child his age. But rather than play with them in interactive play, he much prefers to line them up. He'll have them in a certain order that he understands himself, that I might not be able to see. And if I came along and moved one of his characters or put it in a different position, it could make Henry really upset and frustrated because he wants them in a set way. Henry also loves the alphabet, and you can see from the bottom image there that he's done the alphabet, but backwards. There's nothing wrong with the way that Henry plays or does things, it's just a little bit different. Likewise, as people with autism grow older, they may develop special interests in hobbies and activities. This is Johnny. He's one of the people we support at Autism Together, and his passion is Lego and Star Wars, and he has some amazing creations. The Imperial Star Destroyer he made has over 4,700 pieces to it, and Johnny can talk to you for hours about his creations and teach you everything he knows. He might not recognise if you get bored or not interested in the same things that he is, but look at what he can achieve with his passions. And why we are here today. World Autism Awareness Day is celebrated everywhere on the 2nd of April every year. Here at Autism Together, we use a whole month to raise awareness and acceptance of autistic people. And we'll work with lots of schools and businesses to teach them more about autism, as well as hosting many different events too. We also have a Get Active for Autism challenge each year to encourage people to fundraise for our charity and raise awareness, as well as getting some exercise too. We have a schools challenge that you may want to take part in, where we ask people to do a certain amount of minutes of their favourite activity and gather sponsorship for this too. Or you could do our Get Active for Autism main challenge, where we want you to do a certain amount of miles of running, walking or cycling each month and raise money for that too. If you want to know more information, just let us know. There are also different ways you can get involved, and it doesn't always have to happen in April. If you have your own challenges that you would like to do to raise money, then please let us know. We have many skydives and abseils and all sorts going on. You're welcome to join in with these too. And this photo here was taken at an inflatable 5K assault course with around 15 different bouncy castle challenges with a huge pit of foam at the end. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter to follow our charity and learn more about the events we do and see what we get up to as well. Thank you so much for taking part in Autism Together Acceptance Month. We hope that you've learned something new from this presentation and are inspired to tell others about what you have learned, or maybe take part in some of our fundraising too. Thank you so much for your time and for your support. Goodbye.